Hi, everyone. Welcome to Brand Boutique Elite. This is Farhana Cannon, and I have a very special guest, Michelle Jewsbury, here with us today. Thank you for joining, Michelle.
Thank you. I'm super excited to share my story on your platform, and I haven't seen you forever, so it's so awesome to see you.
I know. I mean, we did kind of good doing our push-up challenge together and getting on social media to connect a little bit.
And I have a yes. Yeah, 22 days. That was awesome. 22 days, 22 push-ups in 22 days. You, me, and Melanie. It was great. And then a bunch of other women joined us as well, which was cool.
Yeah, I felt like I was getting stronger with, the 22 push-ups a day. I mean, I know for many people that doesn't seem like a super ton, but, I was getting stronger.
Yeah, no, it was. I was getting stronger as well. It was a lot of fun.
So Michelle Jewsbury is a breakthrough specialist, and she's also the founder of Unsilenced Voices. And she has a very unique story, and she really is committed to supporting people getting through, any areas of their life where they might need some support. And I know many of us, get to that place. And so I'll have Michelle share her story in a second. But I want to tell you guys about how we met. We were both speaking at an event and we instantly became friends, and, we hung out after and went to dinner and, went out after, and we instantly bonded. And Michelle had posted a couple of photos. We had traveled around, the Caribbean and Mexico and the States together. And there was a couple of pictures that she had posted. And my dad was actually going through my Facebook being like, this name, Jewsbury, that's an interesting name. And it comes to find out that my dad and her dad were actually in the Army together, and they were actually really good friends. And so it was really cool and interesting that, our dads were great friends and now we're great friends.
Yeah, no, it's freaking awesome. And it was kind of a shock, because my dad is not with us any longer. And my father passed away about, I want to say 6 years ago now. It's been a long time. And it was kind of by happenstance. And Farhana's father was like, hey, will you tell Michelle that I know Bill, or that I knew Bill? And it was just wonderful. It was a wonderful, mysterious thing that happened that brought us closer together. So that was pretty great.
Yeah. So tell us about, Unsilenced Voices, your nonprofit. A lot of our viewers here might, be interested in starting a nonprofit, but I'd really like to know your story and like why you started it and, how you got it up and running, because now you're in a couple countries and you're supporting women all over the world.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And I feel like I was given this mission and I had to listen. So a little bit about me, I'll kind of start from the beginning. I don't want to take too much time because I know that we'll go back and forth a little bit. So I was born in the 80s to two amazing parents. Like Farhana talked about my dad already. My mom was in the picture my whole life too. My parents were married for 35 years until my father died, and then my mother died a year and a half ago. And they brought us up, me and my brother, knowing that we could count on our family, knowing that family meant everything. Well, we moved around a lot because Daddy was military. And when I was about 16 years old, my mom was working in a restaurant, and I was like, I want a real job. And so my mom trained me in the restaurant industry. So I worked in the restaurant industry for over 15 years, from hostess to server to bartender. And then I just knew that I wanted more. I mean, there's so many people, I talk about this on stages everywhere, that we just want more. And at that point in my life, I just wanted more. So I packed up my Saturn to the brim, kept all my clothes and shoes and got rid of pretty much everything else, and drove my happy little butt to Hollywood, California to be a movie star. And I love the screen. I love being in front of the camera. I love theater. I love acting. I love all that stuff. And it was going really well. And I was producing plays and starring in independent films and commercials. And then I ended up meeting this guy, well, reconnecting really, but that's another story. And he swept me off my feet. His name was Paul, and he was blonde hair, blue eyes, really attractive, very successful, and he was an entrepreneur. And I was so attracted to his drive and his vision and what he wanted for his future. And we began dating. Roughly January 2012 was when we started dating. And about 4 months into that relationship was the first sign of physical violence. And when I say physical violence, he had pushed me so hard against a wall that my head ended up bouncing and causing a huge indentation. I say my head went through the wall. It didn't go completely through, but it really went through. And I remember at that point stepping forward and looking back and thinking to myself, wow, I need to patch this. I didn't think to myself that I need to run away, that this is detrimental to my health, that I was in trouble, just that I need to patch it so people didn't see the hole. Well, I stayed with Paul for 4 years. And during those 4 years, I endured psychological manipulation, financial abuse, physical violence, lots of physical violence, and of course, sexual violence. And when I left the relationship, I literally sat in front of my computer and I started documenting what happened to me. And when I started documenting, then I had an aha moment, like, oh my God, holy crap, I can't believe this is me. And I knew that I had to do something. So I ended up writing a 65-minute solo show about my experience called But I Love Him, and performed that in 2016, debuted at the Whitefire Solo Fest, and then later on that year in the Hollywood Fringe Festival. And I performed over 13 or 15 different characters, including my abuser, beat myself up on stage. It was very, very intense. But what happened next was what was unbelievable and miraculous. People started coming up to me, telling me their stories about domestic violence, telling me that they experienced similar things. They were thanking me for speaking up, which encouraged them to speak up as well. And then at that point, I was like, okay, I've got to do something. And then in 2017, I founded Unsilenced Voices, which is a 501c3 nonprofit. We're based in the US, and right now we're working abroad. So we work in Ghana, Sierra Leone, and we just expanded to Rwanda during the pandemic, which is kind of cool. And we are expanding also to the United States. So we're going to be doing educational seminars and providing education to the community and providing resources to survivors of domestic violence all over the US. And that's what we're doing worldwide. And then I wrote and published my first book, which is the same title as my play, in 2019, called But I Love Him. And I'm working on my second one now. And I've been speaking on stages all around the world since. I've been on over 35 virtual summits since March. I've been on probably close to 80 to 100 platforms, whether it's podcasts or speaking on virtual stages or real stages. I actually got stuck in Egypt and Ghana coming home in March, trying to get back into the States because of COVID. So that was pretty interesting, but it's awesome to be able to influence people and use my story to help other people and tell them that, you don't have to stay stuck in your circumstances, and you can be a victor and not a victim. So yeah, there's me in a nutshell.
So what had you create Unsilenced Voices and have it start off like supporting people in other countries? And how did you get that going? Like, I feel like I wouldn't even know how to, create a charity and then have it do some things in another country.
Like I said, I feel like it was a calling. So I was vice president for another nonprofit called Young Vision Africa prior to me starting my own organization. And I traveled to Sierra Leone with that organization to help kids go to school, give them an education. While I was there, this was the end of my abusive relationship. So right after I had performed my play, and I started talking to some of the women about domestic violence in their country. Sorry, I got a frog in my throat. And while I was there, it was very shocking. I spoke to two different groups of women, elders in the community, and then also college age girls. And it was prevalent everywhere. And every single one of the girls that I spoke to had experienced some type of abuse, whether it was sexual violence, whether it was domestic violence, whatever it is. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do something. So when I got back to the United States, I ended up leaving my position with YVA. And I volunteered on Skid Row for about 6 months at the Downtown Women's Center, volunteering once or twice a week. And I thought I was going to work there. And lo and behold, it didn't happen. So then I started interviewing with other nonprofits. I flew up to Oakland and interviewed with another nonprofit called Art and Abolition, which is an amazing nonprofit that works in Kenya to help kids off the streets who sell themselves for a bag of rice. We're talking human trafficking and sexual abuse. It's pretty bad. But I felt like God's presence was with the organization, but I didn't feel like I was supposed to be there. So I was like, okay, what do I do? So I walk around the next day, the streets of San Francisco, hang out on Pier 39, have my clam chowder and my glass of wine. And he sent me a sign and sent me a gentleman, and we started talking. And the guy was like, hey, you need to start your own nonprofit. And I was like, okay, well, it's not the first time I've heard that, so I guess I should listen. And I did all the paperwork, and we were 501c3 within the month, which is kind of crazy. And I ended up meeting a guy, a doctor from Ghana here in the United States, here in Los Angeles. And he said, you know, you can go live in my family home for a little while if you want to bring services to Ghana. And I was like, okay. So 2 months later, I was in Ghana. And I already had connections in Sierra Leone, so that's kind of how we started over there.
It's interesting how kind of the God energy, whatever you believe in, like kind of if you can open your eyes and see it, the things that were like our callings, the things that are meant to be in our space, they come forth. And it's when we take action and like listen to those signs, I think that's when like great things happen. When you're like, creating the space and like manifesting and creating like the possibility of whatever it is, like whether it's your contribution, whether it's, bringing something to your space, but like it's when we like actually listen. And that's pretty cool how, these people and these things just kind of came into your space and you listened and you had a calling to do this and really make a difference, for other people. And it's interesting, I feel like there's so many people, even if it isn't super abusive, I've heard, but I love him, so many times. And it's like, even when the situation's not good, like I've heard so many people say that. And so that's like a great title, but it's so true. And I think that in other countries, there isn't as many resources as like, we definitely have problems in the US, but we definitely have a lot more resources. And I think sometimes we're progressive enough to be able to talk about the things that have happened. But what do you see as, what are some resources or what are some signs? Like, how do people in the situation right now kind of get out of what they're dealing with? Or how do they acknowledge that this isn't something healthy?
Yeah, there's a lot of different red flags that you can look for, and I speak about that a lot. And unfortunately, even if you see those red flags, you may not recognize them. And this is what we teach. So I do a lot of private coaching as well. And this is what we help a lot of our clients see and overcome is first you have to recognize what you're going through. And I remember when I first started dating Paul, he was very possessive. He was rude to people around us. He was controlling. He told me what I could and could not do. He started controlling my money very early, started controlling my friends, controlling even my vehicle. He ended up telling me that I had an awful car and he wanted to get me a new car. And lo and behold, he eventually did get me a new car that I wasn't allowed to drive because he thought, at least this is what he said, that I was unappreciative. So in the very beginning, I noticed that he wouldn't really let me speak up for like the orders that I want to order at restaurants. He always had his hand at the small of my back, which is fine. However, it was more of a come here, go there, showing me and guiding me where he wanted me to go instead of allowing me to be my own human. And I recognize some of these, but I push them off as fear of being in a relationship, not fear of being in something abusive and detrimental. So, red flags are, when they're controlling, when they want to move the relationship too quickly forward, when they speak to their peers differently, in a negative manner. Definitely use our resources this day and age, Google, social media, talk to their friends, see what they're posting online. Paul used to make a lot of jokes, a lot of negative women jokes, very similar to some people in politics right now. And, I could have seen that as horrible red flags, and I chose not to look at it that way. And the reason I chose, like I said, is I wanted my fairy tale romance to happen. And unfortunately, the fairy tale romance turned into a nightmare in a lot of ways. But there are red flags. And if you recognize them early, then you can leave and leave a lot of the future abuse that could happen to you.
So you were saying that you offer different kinds of coaching. What does that look like, and how, you know, like maybe somebody isn't, fully in an abusive relationship, but they're just like having some things, maybe some of the red flags that you mentioned. So how do you, support them in your coaching, and how do they get in touch with you? And, what are some of like the results that you've seen from like people coming and working with you?
Yeah, so right now we have an amazing client. We're doing our last coaching session today or tomorrow. I got to check my calendar. But Jamie R. Wright is a rock star, and I'm her private coach right now, which is great. But she started off at a women's shelter in Houston during COVID. And now she is speaking on virtual stages. She has everything that she needs online, all of her handles. She's writing her first book. And she's really being able to express herself and talk about what she's gone through. So she's living an even freer life right now, where she doesn't have to worry about the fear of being in an abusive relationship or the fear of speaking up, because she has us backing her. And it's so important to have people that you care about, that you love, having your back. And she is now family. Our clients turn into family. We have a handful of other clients right now that are just working on overcoming a lot of their trauma to have even more success. So we really help monetize your intellectual intelligence. So it's not that you've experienced something horrible, but it's that you can use your experience then to start a movement and help other people. And that's what we're trying to do, is help other people start their own movements. I don't care if it's trauma from abuse, or if your passion is plastics or animals or climate change. It doesn't matter. We help you do what it is that you want to do and turn your horrible experience into something beautiful, because you can turn broken pieces into beautiful things. And if you're not yet ready to be coached, we have a 10-week masterclass series that really helps you break through some of the barriers that you're facing. Because I even remember when I left my abusive relationship, I was stuck emotionally, didn't know what to do, didn't know how to feel. I was depressed, I was upset, I was blaming myself. So we have a 10 module series that really helps you conquer barriers, elevate your perspective, and we dive into the transformation process. And that transformation process talks about adverse childhood experiences and traumas that we've experienced, and how that affects us emotionally and physically later on in life. Being autoimmune disorders, physical and emotional ailments, stresses, chronic pain, chronic fatigue, you name it. So we help you overcome a lot of those challenges. But you have to be coachable, with anything. You have to be coachable and do the work. But if you do the work, the coaching program is an application process. So we only take about 3 clients a month for coaching. But for the masterclass, we're filling up our November and December series now. So if you are interested in that, you can contact me at can I give my contact info? I didn't even ask. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. You can contact me at Michelle Jewsbury.com. So Michellejewsbury.com. But the easiest way, if you're listening in the United States, is you can text consultation to 26786. Again, text consultation to 26786. And you can get a member of our team. Most likely it'll be me right now because I'm dealing one-on-one with a lot of people. And you can book a consult and we can talk about what's best for you.
It's consultation?
Consultation. CONSULTATION. Text consultation. Yep, to 26786. Perfect.
Okay, awesome. So people that, I think a lot of times, you have being in community and having a group to share with is super important. But sometimes I think that people don't necessarily want to tell people that they know, what's going on in their life, maybe because they don't want to be judged. They don't want people to think bad about the other person. And so, if you're one of those kinds of people and you feel like there's just something not right, even if it isn't like, huge abuse, if you just feel like something's off, like I definitely suggest to speak with Michelle and, join one of her programs and definitely like get the help that you need. I've spent lots of time with Michelle and I know that she's really committed to, helping people get through whatever they're going through. And she really wants to have people succeed in their lives. And that's awesome. Somebody that was living in a homeless shelter, they're now speaking on virtual stages. They're now setting up their business, sharing their story. And that takes something. Like, I feel like when people are so down, it's like, I think as entrepreneurs, like we all go through these moments of like, okay, like, can I do this? And, in the beginning of our businesses, like being overwhelmed or whatever like that. And then it takes something. Like it takes to be like, okay, I'm just going to go do this. I'm going to invest in this thing that's going to cost me a lot of money. Even like coaches, like I've invested thousands and thousands of dollars in coaches, in programs, in education. Just think about everyone that like left college with, how much? $200,000 that you paid to a college. And it's like, do you have a business? No, like you're going to work for somebody. And so like when you're working with a coach, yes, you're investing in yourself, just like a college education, but like leaving with tangible goods that are going to take you to that next level. All of the coaches that I've, worked with, all of the transformational growth programs that I've attended, all of the educational classes that I've signed up for, all of these things helped me get to where I want to be quicker. And it's given me like a roadmap instead of being like, oh, I'm stuck in this place. Like, what's next?
Yeah, no, very, very true, because I've invested thousands and thousands of dollars into coaches, but you will only get in return what you invest in yourself. And that's what's very important, because if you want big dreams to happen and have an even more successful life, you have to invest in yourself, because if you don't, you're going to be doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And that is the definition of insanity. And, one of my mentors is Bill Walsh, and he is absolutely amazing. He has helped package me and coach me and put me on stages everywhere and given me the confidence that I need to help other people to do the same thing. And because of him, I am where I am. And you know what? Bill Walsh is one of the top 30 business coaches in the world. he isn't cheap, by any means. But I am so grateful that I've had him, because now I can do the same thing and I implement what he's taught me and help other people to do those same things. So it's super, super important to be able to invest in yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Bill Walsh is also my business mentor. And I remember when I first did one of his programs, and he said to me, you should speak on stage. You really know what you're talking about, and you're likable. And I was like, yeah, I'm not getting up in front of stage and talking to people. Like, I'm not doing it. And he goes, well, why do you do what you do? And I said, because I love to help people grow their businesses. And he goes, well, you know that you can do that to like more people if you get up and talk to more people at once instead of doing one-on-one. And I was like, yeah, I get that, but like then I'm gonna go up there, everyone's gonna be staring at me, like I'm gonna feel awkward. And I was talking to my mom about this, and she's like, and I was doing event marketing and digital marketing, and this was 10 years ago. And she's like, you plan and execute an event, you manage all of the workers, you manage the brand, you go and talk to every single person in the place. It's like hundreds of people that you talk to every night. What's the difference? And I was like, well, I'm going to be on stage and everyone's going to stare at me. And she's like, so what? And I was like, all right, fine. If I can help more people all at once, I'm going to get up there and do that. And so like, there's always these like little barriers that we have, but working with Bill Walsh as like my business coach and investing in him, like I'm getting to where I want to go a lot quicker, like having that commitment and that, being in that network.
Yeah, definitely. And for those people listening, if you're located in Las Vegas, I am going to be doing an event at the Power Team Success Center with Bill Walsh on November 5th. Tickets are free, and it's an easy bit.ly link to get tickets to it. So it's bit.ly/Power Team Night. So super easy. I think Farhana's putting that in right now, you guys. But if you are in the Vegas area, make sure to come and hear him, hear me. We're going to be there from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So again, it's bit.ly/Power Team Night. Perfect.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I definitely suggest taking advantage of all of these like free workshops and really like putting yourself out there. So like everyone has these like limiting beliefs, like, oh, I can't do that because of this. Well, really, those are just stories. And I would always say, my mom says, don't go into your head alone. And so that means like whatever the stories are that like, oh, you can't do this, or you're not good enough, or, like, how are you going to do this? Like all of those negative things that happen, you just say, okay, thank you for sharing. Now I'm going to go do this thing because I am going to achieve my goal without letting anything hold us back. And if you look at anybody that's successful in the world, it's because of their mindset. Like they're just out there to do it. So if you have some areas that like you are like, okay, this isn't working and I need some support, like definitely contact Michelle. If you know that you have a business and that you want to grow, like look at what kinds of coaches out there. I help people create their marketing plan and create their structure and their branding and things like that. If you want to become a speaker, connect with Bill Walsh and get on his stages. There's so many different people that you can connect with, just to kind of grow your business and to get out of your own way and not like let anything hold you back.
Yeah, and it's so important not to let anything hold you back. And, I've experienced a lot of trauma, and a lot of people that I talk to have experienced a lot of trauma. And the one thing that we need to realize is that you're not alone. And to try to go through this life alone is idiocracy, because we were built for community. We were built to help one another out. And in order to help one another out, you have to speak up. And like Farhana said, I know that sometimes it's difficult to tell your story and share your story. So we often teach, writing exercises first to just be able to get it out on paper. Stream of consciousness writing is something that is super, super important and helpful, to where it doesn't have to make sense, doesn't have to be complete sentences. You can burn the paper after you're done writing it, but write out what's in your brain. So oftentimes it could go, oh, I need bananas at the grocery store. Oh, I hate him. I'm stuck here. Oh, look, the sky is blue. Like literally, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but it's getting out your feelings, because we teach a 5-step process to help people overcome challenges. And one of the steps is elevating your thoughts and expressing your feelings. Because if you don't express your feelings, like I said earlier, it comes out in physical and emotional ailments. So in order to do that, you got to get it out somehow. So if you don't speak up, then make sure you do movement therapy, traditional therapy, or writing exercises.
Yeah, for sure. And if you don't take care of, we only get one body. And like Michelle said,
Yeah.
like your trauma will manifest itself into physical ailments. And so if you don't let go, release, sort out what that is, it is going to hold you back in so many areas, and it can come through in a physical ailment. And, like we were talking about investing yourself. So, I like to eat healthy foods. I will pay for gym memberships. I will, do all of these things because I know that I'll do these transformational growth work so that I can be the best version of me and be healthy, like body, mind, and soul, so that like I can live a happy life. I can live long. I'm not going to, hopefully, God willing, like I won't be suffering. And, because I'm taking care of myself, like it costs a lot more at the end of the day to cure what's going
Mm-hmm.
on rather
Yeah.
than to be in a practice of being healing or healing yourself.
Healed. Yeah, exactly. And one of the main things that we teach also is having fun, because life is meant to have fun. And I'm in Pahrump, Nevada at the moment, which is about an hour from Vegas, visiting my aunt and uncle that I haven't seen for a couple of months. And you never know how long you have with the people that you love. Like I said, my mom died about a year and a half ago, and my dad died about 6 years ago. And it's unbelievable how quick life goes. So you don't want to be stuck in a day job every single day doing the same thing over and over again, and going home and watching and binging Netflix, even though there's some great shows like Game of Thrones. I love Game of Thrones, but that's HBO. But in order to have great success and have even more fun, you have to invest in yourself. You've got to push yourself to the limits. And sometimes that's really scary for people. But we also say, Bill Walsh teaches us faith, family, fun, or family, faith, fun, whatever one you want to say. But fun is always there. And book your fun first, because if you don't book your fun, then what is the point of life? And it's so important to do that. So it's almost Halloween, you guys, right? So what are we doing for Halloween? I'm in Vegas, so I have some friends coming in, and we're gonna go hang out and go to Area 15, which is like this museum and light show, and hang out and have some fun. And it's really important to laugh out loud, laugh hard, and really spend time with the people that you cherish, your friends and your family. So, yeah, sorry to jump in there. I know it's different than what we're talking about, but fun is so important. And Farhana knows me really well. I like to have a cocktail here and there. I like to dance. We were on boats together. Like we went to the Caribbean together. I've been to Mexico. I've been to Florida. I've been all over the world with Farhana, and we have fun,
Mhm.
and it's supposed to be like that. Dress up, put on some makeup, make yourself feel good, because you feel different in different pairs of shoes. And it's important to realize which pairs of shoes make you feel good. And if they make you feel good, then put those suckers on. I don't care if you are the best dressed person in the room. So be it.
Yeah, so we've definitely have lots of fun all over. When people ask me like what I do for fun, there's a couple things. One is travel. And we've definitely done a lot of that. And then, being a speaker and traveling around the world to do my job, but also, travel and have fun there. So I combine that into my job, meeting new people. Like, of course, like we meet tons of people going all about and like hearing people's stories and connecting. Like that's super fun for me. I love styling photo shoots and I get to do that with my job, creating like, we do brand boards and like playing with colors and pictures and imagery and things like that. And so all of the things that I used to do as a child that was fun for me, I created as a job that I actually get paid for. And so like what you were saying about people being in their jobs being miserable, like what if you guys took like all of the things that you really enjoyed, the contribution that you wanted to put forth in the world and packaged that up into something that you were going to do every day?
Yeah, no, it's so important to remember what your why is. So Farhana brought up a good point. She, put things together and she puts pictures together and she likes to style people. Well, you can do this at home. Take a bunch of magazines, cut out what you want in your life, cut out your dreams, your visions, travel, kids, the things that you want, clothes, shoes, houses, you name it, where you want to go, and put those pictures on a board. And that is your dream board, your vision board, and put that on your wall and look at that every single day and ask yourself every day, what am I doing to achieve my goals? And if you are on track to achieve your goals, then it's great. You'll be energized, you'll be happier. So it's super important to remember to do that and keep your dreams and your visions and your why right in front of your face.
Yeah, for sure. So I have one fun question that I ask all of my guests. If you could be a superhero, what would your 2 superpowers be?
2?
Yes, 2.
Oh, um, flying.
Hmm. That's mine too.
And probably reading minds. And the reason why I think is oftentimes we have conversations with people and they're surface level, right? And then they don't let us in or they lie. Like I've caught a lot of people just lying. Naturally, human beings just do white lies. So it'd be interesting to kind of get in the minds of people. And I think that if I could get in the minds of some of the more horrible people on the planet, then we might be able to help them and help their mindset differently, so we could stop a lot of the injustices like rape and domestic violence and human trafficking and abuse and some of these horrible things that happen on the planet. So I think that that's what I would do. And then of course flying. Who wouldn't want to fly?
Yeah, so we can travel and get there quicker.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. That'd be fun.
Then we'd have to teleport all of our luggage, like all of our clothes and shoes.
Oh, well then, if we could fly, I guess I would want to make sure that I'm super strong too, right?
All of our luggage. Like it'll be like I dream a genie and it'll just blink and be there, but then we'd fly there because that'd be
I like that.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on, and I want to thank everyone for listening in. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast, Brand Boutique Elite, and you can watch our videos on YouTube as well as Facebook. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much